King Charles III is to deliver a speech Tuesday opening Canada's parliament, the first by a monarch in nearly half a century, as U.S. President Donald Trump repeatedly attacks the Commonwealth nation's sovereignty. This historic honor matches the weight of our times. Prime Minister Mark Carney, whose Liberal Party won elections last month after a campaign dominated by Trump's threats, said ahead of the speech, "It was at the Prime Minister's invitation that the 76-year-old monarch, who is battling cancer, traveled to the Canadian capital, accompanied by Queen Camilla." Thousands gathered along a parade route early Tuesday morning for a chance to see their monarch. The atmosphere was festive with people waving Canadian flags. Kirsten Hansen, 44, said she welcomes the King's show of support amid the pressure coming from Canada's southern neighbor. "I think if there's anything that he can do to demonstrate Canada's sovereignty, I think that's fantastic," she told AFP. "Nobody wants to be absorbed into the U.S., she said. "Elbows up," said Marion Hand, 88, who traveled from Mississauga, Ontario for the event, in reference to Carney's battle cry in the face of Trump's annexation threats. The King has never publicly commented on Trump's repeated talk of making Canada the 51st U.S. state, but his speech will be closely watched for any comments on the topic. Trump has also ripped up the World Trade Order and launched tariff wars against friends and foes alike, particularly targeting Canada. The so-called throne speech will be delivered in the Senate, a former railway station that has been converted while Parliament undergoes major renovations. Although it will be read by the King as if his own words, it was in fact written by the Prime Minister's office and will set out the government's priorities to build Canada strong and how it aims to achieve them. Carney, a technocrat with no prior political experience, has vowed to oversee the biggest transformation of Canada's economy since the end of the Second World War to enable it to stand up to Trump. In cautious diplomatic language, the throne speech should also contain a reaffirmation of Canada's sovereignty, which Trump has threatened repeatedly by suggesting the country should be annexed by the United States. Extraordinary symbolism. In terms of symbolism, it's extraordinary because this is only the third time the sovereign has read this speech, said Félix Mathieu, a politics professor at the University of Quebec in Outaouais. The throne speech has only twice before been personally delivered by Canada's monarch in 1957 and 1977, both by Charles's mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II. What will also be interesting is everything surrounding the speech from the throne, Mathieu added in reference to the message to Donald Trump, to show him that Canada is not alone in this fight. Thousands flocked to the capital on Monday to greet the King and Queen on their first day of the brief visit. For Shrikant Mogalala, 32, the King was here to deliver a clear message to Trump that we are not for sale. Retiree Dave Shaw, 60, said it was a great time for the King to be here now at this particular time, given the geopolitical circumstances, given the circumstances of our country right now. On Monday, the monarchs visited a farmer's market and were treated to indigenous music and military honors before the King held private audiences with Carney and indigenous leaders. They were scheduled to ride to the Senate Tuesday morning in a four-wheeled carriage escorted by 28 horses from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's fabled musical ride unit. There will be a 21-gun salute and a fly-past by fighter jets, and the monarchs will also lay a wreath at a war memorial.